Hello everyone and welcome to Batang 90s Pop, ang show where we talk about all things 90s. I'm Mr. George.
And I'm Kryndall.
Samahan niyo kaming talakayin at balikan ang mga nakakatuwang topics na nakagisna ng mga titos and titas ng henerasyon ngayon. You can also listen to the podcast when it goes up on Anchor.fm and its linked affiliates like Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Also, if you like the content, please don't forget to follow and like the Mint TVPH Facebook page if you haven't already. So for today, Tita K, our topic are
Yes.
the famous, ano to, creme de la creme of the, creme de la creme, sorry, creme de la creme of all Filipinos, no? So, we're talking about yung mga ano, famous or mga, let's say, Filipinos that we idolized back in the 90s.
Yes.
And just to caveat also, no, so as a generational podcast, normally when we tackle topics, parang lumalabas kasi we try to, ano to sasabihin namin na, this is a 90s something. This is because of the 90s, no? We originated everything that, related to this specific topic. So ito hindi. Actually, karamihan ng mga people that we're going to discuss in this podcast are people na or athletes, artists and athletes, no, that were famous way before the 90s came. Actually, nung 90s sikat na sila. So meron
Yes.
na silang established name by the time the 90s come. So pero syempre as a batang 90s, doon natin sila medyo natunugan yung pangalan ng mga to. So we're trying to discuss these people and just to add also, no, so we sort of selected this topic kasi today is Happy Independence Day
Yes.
to all
Happy
the
Independence
Filipinos out
Day.
there.
Yan.
Oo, ano tawag dito,
Araw ng
kalayaan,
Kalayaan.
Araw ng Kalayaan. So, not to be mistaken with July 4th, which is another another Independence Day. Pero ito, June 12th. So, Happy Independence Day to all of the Filipinos out there like me. Ayan.
Yeah.
So yan. So let's discuss, Tita K, ano yung mga famous people. So what we did, me and Tita K, we divided the people, famous people. I'm sure meron pang magagaling na hindi namin naisama, pero ito kasi yung mga people na, as I said, matunog na when the 90s
Mm-mm.
came. So si Tita K muna yung mauuna mag-discuss ng mga napili niya na mga tawag dito, famous people, the greatest of all, the greatest Filipinos. I don't know what else
Eh,
to say kasi magagaling kasi talaga sila lahat eh, 'di ba?
yeah. And
Hmm.
can we just say na sila yung mga achievers during the 90s that uh, narinig natin or napanood natin as a young kid during the 90s. So, just like what Mr. George mentioned earlier, this set of people that we're gonna discuss today, ito yung mga for example, napanood ni Mr. George, napanood din natin mga batang 90s and napanood sa TV, sa mga cinemas, mga ganun. And this topic and dahil nga Independence Day, so parang pagbibigay pugay na rin at pagbibigay balik tanaw or pag-alala sa mga na-achieve nila and they put Philippines into the pedestal pagdating sa larangan ng na kung saan sila excellent. Yun. So, Mr. George, yun, 'di ba? Yung
Oh, so ito
kaya
yung mga just to add in also, no. So sila yung mga, I think dito nagsimula din yung tinatawag na Filipino pride.
yes,
Filipino
oo.
quote unquote pride. Oo. So since itong mga to, they brought Philippines into sa map, 'di ba? So na-recognize na meron pala magagaling na mga Pilipino when it comes to athleticism and to artistry.
Yeah.
So sila yung nag-open up globally na meron palang kakayahan yung mga Pilipino sa ganito.
Mm.
And ayun. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and
magagaling
and
sila.
oh, and yeah, and just to add lang sa sinabi ni Mr. George, hindi lang naman ng 90s. So tama siya na during the 80s, 70s, 60s, nag-excel na talaga tayo mga Pinoy pagdating sa mga larangan kung saan tayo expert. And just so happen, yun nga, dahil nga lumaki kami ni Mr. George during the 90s. And ito yung mga natatandaan namin, ito yung mga naalala namin at napanood namin. So, I'm gonna start um, early 90s. And I remember because I was able to watch it live when it was held here in Manila. Yung 1991 Southeast Asian Games. And isa sa mga nag-excel talaga that time is Mr. Eric Buhain. So, kung naalala niyo siya yung isa sa magaling nating swimmer nung panahon ng dekada 90. And since dito nga siya ginawa sa Pilipinas, napanood ko yung mismong laban niya kasi I was there sa Rizal Memorial Stadium with my parents. And we were able to watch yung nanalo siya, nag-champion siya, tapos yung alam mo yung feeling na tumayo talaga siya dun sa sa top 1 yung 'di ba meron yung top 1, 2, 3 parang gold, parang bronze, silver and gold. And siya nandun tas kinakanta yung national anthem natin. And nakaka-proud kasi at that time nung bata ako nung napanood ko siya, hindi ko siya kilala eh. And nakilala ko siya doon. Kumbaga doon ko na, siya pala yung Eric Buhain. And then, at the same time, I was able to see, I was able to witness yung sa female, ano naman sila, Akiko Thompson. And then, I was able to see Kristen Jacob. That time sa, ano na yun, event na yun. And, kaya rin nag-stand out si Mr. Eric Buhain kasi siya yung isa sa mga um, kalahok from the Philippines that nananalo ng several medals during the Southeast Asian Games no 1991. So, ang dami niyang nauwing or nakuhang medal that time nung 1991. And at the same time, he also tried joining the 1992 Summer Olympics and kumbaga naging representative na siya ng iba't ibang sports swimming competition outside the country because of what he did. Yeah, sabi nga ni Mr. Arvin Malvin, saan siya sa Rizal Memorial Stadium. If you remember, that's somewhere in Manila. I was able to watch it live yung swimming competition ni Mr. Eric Buhain. And nakaka-proud kahit nung bata ako, parang na-feel ko yung Filipino pride na sinasabi ni Mr. George. Kasi that time, nung kinakanta yung national anthem natin, kasi pag ganun pala yun, pag ikaw yung nag-champion, kakantay, parang yung second yata tsaka yung first, kakantahin yung national anthem. So, yung national anthem na natin, syempre lahat palakpakan. And I remember na parang yung Philippine flag, winabagay-way namin, meron kami maliit na Philippine flag. So, yun. Si Mr. Eric Buhain, yung isa sa mga recognizable that time. And aside from him, si Akiko Thompson, and Miss Kristen Jacob. Pero I'm not sure if she competed that time, but she was there. Yun. So, ayun. So, 1991 until ang dami niyang napanood ng event, napanood ng medals. And then right now he's the current chairman of the Philippine Games and Amusement Board. So, na naging ano rin siya, kumbaga nag-head siya ng games and amusement board kasi nga isa siya sa mga recognizable person. Yan. So ikaw Mr. George, naalala mo ba si Mr. Eric Buhay? I mean, narinig mo ba siya nung 90s na napag-usapan sa balita, sa news ganun?
Oo, narinig ko si Eric Buhain. Pero kasi when I was a kid, hindi naman ako ganun ka-interested sa sports. So, pero palagi ko naririnig yan na sa balita and even sa textbook. I don't know if nasa textbook mo yun, no, nung nasa elementary ka. So, sinasabi doon like sino yung mga achievers, yung mga nagdala ng crown, nagdala ng mga awards sa Philippines during these competitions. So, yan, kasama si Eric Buhain dyan. Tapos, kilala ko si Eric Buhain because of his commercial on Milo. Milo everyday.
Yes,
Naalala ko yun
exactly.
kasi kasi siya yung kung parang yung swimming din yun eh. Swimming din yung yung parang
Yung team nung
ng commercial. Oo. Tas yun nga, Milo everyday tas Eric Buhain.
Oo.
So, medalist sa SEA Games. So, doon ko nakilala na, wow, magaling pala 'tong tao na 'to. Pero
Oo.
in terms of yung napanood ko siya at that time, hindi masyado eh. A lot of his achievements I just heard from the news and from commercials that he was in. So there. Mm.
Oo. And tsaka nung 1989 Southeast Asian Games na ginawa sa Malaysia, according to my research, Mr. Eric Buhain broke one of the existing SEA Games swimming records. So, ganun siya kagaling. And although he retired early, by 1990, early 1990 rin, or parang mid-90s, parang he decided to retire from his swimming career because of some political reason. Medyo yung principles niya, or parang kasi parang disappointed siya sa poor government management pagdating sa sports, and we all know naman na pag ang sports talaga yung may parang pinakamababang ano sa ano natin but he decided to come back, and nung 2000, he was appointed as the Philippine Sports Commission chairman by the former president Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So by his governance, at least he was able to, help the aspiring athletes as well. And also, kasi naging coach na rin siya eh. He became a swimming coach, and yun. So, nakakatawa kasi napanood ko siya nung 20 na, when yung Southeast Asian Games na ginawa ulit dito sa Pilipinas, 2019 ata, parang he was one of the flag bearer that time. So, ano rin. And tama kami, Sir George, napanood din kaya isa rin siya talaga sa mga kasi nga, di ba, hindi ko rin talaga siya kilala, pero nakita ko siya sa commercial ng Milo. So, nung napanood ko siya in real life, parang, okay, magaling pala talaga siya. So, and ano rin, Akiko Thompson din, meron din siyang commercial sa Milo dun eh. Parang ganun. So,
Mm.
dahil doon, kahit kilala natin yung mga magagaling nating atleta. Yun.
Oo.
Ayun. Ayan. So thankful din tayo kay Mr. Eric Buhayan, sa mga magaganating swimmers from the 90s, way back from the 90s up to the present, kasi sila yung mga talagang isa sa mga hardworking, disciplined athletes na nakikita ko when it comes to ano talaga practice. Yung mga swimmer, isa sa mga dedicated, and isa sa mga ano yan kumbaga nag-excel tayo na sports sa swimming. 'Di ba? Aside from
Mm.
basketball, swimming. 'Yun. So, kaya dapat talaga bigyan natin ng pansin yung mga atleta natin, 'yun. So, anyway, so yung hindi naman top 2, pero yung number 2 sa listahan ko, hindi siya masyadong kilala, or hindi siya masyadong um, napag-usapan during the 90s, kasi mas may sikat sa kanya na kapatid niya. So, si Mr. Ruel Velasco. So, sa apelyido pa lang, malalaman niyo na kung sino yung kapatid niya. So, yun. So, isa siya sa mga magagaling nating boksingero nung dekada 90. Actually, nung mid-80s, medyo nag-ano na siya, nagko-compete outside the country na siya. Pero ang isa sa mga ano talaga sa kanya is, siya yung isa sa mga kauna-unahang Pilipino na naka-receive, or nakakuha, or naka-achieve ng medal sa Olympics. And it was in 1992, Barcelona Olympic, naging bronze medalist siya. So, nakaka-proud kasi 'di ba, when you say Olympics, Olympics is Olympics. So, pag may nag-e-excel talaga ng mga Pilipino sa Olympics, ayun, medyo nakakatuwa, and nakaka-Filipino pride, kasi nga Olympics 'yun eh. Hindi lang isang kontinente yung kalahok doon, but buong mundo. Kumbaga sa Miss Universe, ito yung Miss Universe ng sports yung Olympics. So nung Barcelona Olympics in 1992, he won the bronze medal. Ayun. So Summer Olympics in Barcelona, Spain. Yun. So ano siya, na-receive niya yung, I think he's one of the first din na naka-receive ng medal sa Olympics. Ayun.
Hmm.
And
Siya yung sa ano, sa boxing,
sa
ito yung
boxing,
first na medal natin. Ay, tama ba? Parang I think first nga yata, first na medal natin
when it comes to Olympics, 'di
sa
ba?
sa Olympics. Oo, for that category, for that sport category.
And then, noong 1997, he competed again. And this time, he was also the first Filipino na nagkaroon ng silver medal sa World Boxing Championship na ginawa sa Budapest, Hungary. At siya yung may unang medalya nang nanalo siya sa isang sports event sa USA, sa Goodwill Games na ginawa sa USA noong 1998. So, bronze medal din. Pero at least alam mo yung pride na yung ginawa niya sa Pilipinas na nagsumikap siya para maabot niya yung mga ganong achievements. Eh, alam naman natin ang isang unboxing din na isa sa mga mahirap na sports. Kailangan mo talaga ng dedication diyan, tsaka discipline, yung strength, body strength talaga, yun. So, yun nga, so, si Mr. Well Velasco, ngayon isa na siyang coach. So, nagko-coach na siya ng mga younger, aspiring boxers. Yun. So, siya yung naunang Velasco brothers na naka-receive
Ano,
ng award sa Olympics. Yun.
correction pala, hindi pala siya yung first sa boxing. Meron na pala before pa.
Okay.
Oo,
But
earlier pa. Oo.
he's the first Velasco. So, alam niyo na kung sino yung kasunod. So, yun, i-discuss yun ni Mr. George later. So, yun. So, saludo rin tayo kay Mr. Well Velasco kasi sa mga na-contribute niya sa larangan ng boxing noong 90s and until now, he's still teaching, sharing his knowledge to younger or to aspiring boxers out there. Yun. So, saludo kami sa iyo, Mr. Well Velasco. And so, itong pangatlo sa listahan ko, actually, crush ko to eh. Kasi naman at his
Hmm.
age, he's like what, 60 plus, 62 or 63 na siya. Pero when you see him on TV, every now and then nakikita ko pa rin na na-interview siya. He's still, astig yun. So, we all know kung sino to si Mr. Paeng. When you say Paeng, wala nang ibang dumadating sa isip natin kundi si Mr. Rafael Paeng Nepomuceno. Yun. So, sa larangan ng bowling, siya naman yung nanalo na siya yung tipo ng athlete na nanalo or nagkaroon ng mga records. And yung record niya, siya rin yung nagbo-broke sa sarili niyang record. So si Mr. Paeng Nepomuceno has won the World Cup of Bowling 4 times. So 1976. So nag-start siya way back 70s pa talaga. Kasi as far as yung sa research ko, he's one of parang he's the youngest. At the age of 19, he's the youngest uh,
Bowler?
bowling champion sa Bowling World Cup. And when you say Bowling World Cup, isang prestigious title talaga yan. So, he's the youngest. So, nanalo siya ng World Cup Championship noong 1976 at the age of 19. So, uh, that put him to Guinness World of Records for being the youngest. Yun. And noong 1980, nanalo ulit siya, 1992, and then 1996. So, 4 times, World Cup champion siya sa bowling. And that put him again to the world records, the Guinness World of Record for winning um, 4 times in World Cup of Bowling. So, ang galing niya. Nakakatawa. Kasi until now, nag-retire lang siya kasi nagkaroon siya ng injury. Tapos, nag-retire siya saglit. Then, he came back. And then, he competed again and he broke his own record. Kasi, di ba, he got the title of the youngest. Now, he's the eldest who won the
Hmm.
championship. So, ang galing,
Hmm.
nakakatawa. Kumaga, he's breaking his own record. So, sa larangan ng bowling. And during the 90s naman talaga, wala naman tayo ibang narinig na pangalan sa larangan ng bowling, kundi si Mr. Paeng Nepomuceno. So, I mean, sa basketball, 'di ba? Or sa let's say swimming, marami sila eh. Marami sila. May Eric Buhain, may Akiko Thompson, may female, may male counterpart. But when it comes to bowling, wala eh. Wala siyang katulad eh. Wala siyang counterpart eh that time. So talagang ano siya eh, he
One of a kind.
one of a kind, and he owned the title of um parang he's GOAT or greatest of all time nung
Sa
90s.
bowling. Yung
Oo.
sabi ni Orange Duwe Stories, shoutout sa Orange Duwe Stories. Yung
Oo.
maganda daw yung kotse ni Sir Peng. Oo, nakita ko
Oo.
nga yung interview doon sa YouTube.
Yun yung sinend ko sa'yo, di ba? Parang,
Oo.
he's also, and nanalo din yung orange car niya na yun, ah. Yung, ano na yun. Ayun. So, because
Land
of,
Cruiser. Nandun sa
ayun,
Land
oo.
Cruiser. Mm.
Ayun. So, because of that, he was declared, uh, sa Senate and sa House of Representative, he was declared as the GOAT or the greatest Philippine athlete of all time. Kasi nung time na yon, nung ginawa uh, yung honor na yon, parang siya pa lang yung nag-excel sa nung 90s sa kaysa kahit anong event or sa anong sports event. So, he was named. Kasi nga, di ba, nagkakaroon ng, ano na ngayon eh, nagkakaroon ng um, debate ngayon kung it's Manny Pacquiao or Mr. Paeng. Kasi nung ginawa yon, it's Paeng's time that time. So, 90s. Wala pa si Manny. So, he was hailed as the greatest Philippine athlete of all time. And he was also named Philippine Athlete of the Century. So, imagine nung 90s sa kanya yun, di ba? Century eh. So, sa kanya talaga yung title na yun. So, walang nakatalo or walang ano. And, pag nakita mo yung pangalan niya, if you search his name, meron ng kasamang OL. Kasi he was, he was given the Order of Lacandula by the former President Laurent Macapagal Arroyo. So, if you were given that title or if you were given that award or recognition, it means that you excel on your, uh,
In your field.
in your field. And, yun. So, and he was also the first Filipino to be awarded the Presidential Medal of Merit noong 1984. So, ang dami niya na panalunang awards. And until now, he still, I think, last 2019 or 2018, he competed and he won. So, parang, at the age of 60, di ba? So, sabi nga nila, parang, hanggat kaya mo pa, or hanggat kaya pa ng katawan mo, di ba? Why not? And meron siyang sinabi during one of his interview that's, ano talaga sa akin eh, that, really got me, is yung sinasabi niya na, I have to reinvent myself and keep up with technology. Kasi tinanong siya, bakit nagko-compete ka pa? Why are you not retire and give it to someone else? And sabi niya nga, I have to reinvent myself and keep up with technology. So, yung, kumbaga, hindi lang isang style yung ginawa niya, nire-reinvent niya yung sarili niya. So, nag-aaral siya ng iba't ibang style din, kung ano yung mas gagaling pa siya, di ba? So, applicable sa atin yun, 'di ba? So nakakatuwa, nakaka-inspire si Mr. Paeng Nepomuceno na parang ano yun eh, parang hashtag goal. Parang ganun, pag tanda mo sana ganun ka pa rin ka ano niya, ka-athlete as Mr. Paeng Nepomuceno. Yun. So ikaw,
Yung
Mr.
yung
George,
objective yung objective niya kasi is to be number one. So he's been number one ever since eh, 'di ba? So
mm,
even holding the world record for ano to, for certain ano ba 'yon? Ano ba yung ano niya, world record niya? On number of wins ba, ganun? Number of
yeah,
medals?
number of wins and number of wins. And also
Yeah,
yung
so
being the youngest and being the eldest to win the World Cup. So yun.
So yun yung ano niya. So up until now, yun yung objective niya is to
Mm.
remain number one. So hindi siya nagsettle na oh, actually pag nakita mo yung trophy room niya, di ba may trophy room siya?
Oo. Oo,
Tapos
'di
meron
ba?
siyang sopa doon sa may sopa siya doon sa trophy room niya tapos parang siguro sa isang gabi na ay nalulungkot ako, sige nga pasok ako sa kwarto tapos titingin lang niya, grabe tingnan mo yung mga gintuan kong mga trophy tsaka mga medals dito, di ba? So ano pa ba yung hihilingin mo? Pero he didn't stop. He doesn't settle, kumbaga. He doesn't care. He wants to be
Yeah,
number one. He wants to continue to be number one regardless kung anong edad na siya. So,
exactly.
and ayan, itong si Paeng din, actually, the reason I know this guy is because of I don't know about you, no, pero yung kasi textbook namin, yung history textbook, Araling Panlipunan, meron separate feature just for Paeng Nepomuceno. na sinabi na si Paeng Nepomuceno, ano siya, merong isang section doon sa book about the different Filipino achievers who have given who have given parang recognition
Mm.
to the Philippines. Isa doon si Paeng Nepomuceno. Sinabi nga doon na si Paeng Nepomuceno ay naka-break ng world record.
Mm.
Siya yung pinakamagaling sa bowling, ganun. Parang propaganda, ganyan.
Pero
Pero yun, doon ko siya
nakakatuwa
nakilala
kasi
na
totoo
parang,
siya, eh.
pero totoo eh. Kasi pag nakita mo yung lineup niya, yung trophy room pa lang niya, pag nakita mo yung trophy room niya eh,
Exactly.
wala na. Mic drop, tapos wala. No,
And
no doubt about it. Oo.
one thing na na-observe ko sa kanya, and isa yun sa dahilan kung bakit hinahangaan ko siya, is yung humility niya. Imagine na, sabi mo nga may trophy room siya eh. Ang dami niyang nabag na award. And at the same time, he's known not only here in our country, but outside. Pero never mo siyang nakita na nag-brag na, oh, ako yung magaling sa bowling. Interview dito, interview doon. Wala lang, parang nasa side lang siya na parang, uh, I remember, I during this research, I watched one of his um, competition, and then nung nanalo siya, parang sabi niya lang dun sa nag-interview na, I owe it to God. Thank you, Lord. Then tumalis na siya, parang gano'n. Tapos yung kalaban niya, USA kasi yun eh. Parang ang daming sinabi. Ang daming sinabi dun sa interview sa kanya. Parang siya yung nag-champion. Yun. Tapos
Mm.
si Mr. Nepomuceno, si Mr. Paeng, talagang ano lang siya eh, slowly nag-thank you lang siya kay God. And then, yun na, tapos very humble, yung humility niya nakakabilib. Na parang, imaginein mo yung achievements mo, and then at the same time, until now, ikaw pa rin yung kilala sa field ng bowling. Parang wala pa nakakatalo sa'yo dito sa Pilipinas. But still, alam mo yung walang ka-ere-ere. Walang kaya. And ito, I remember kasi nag-work ako sa Eastwood, meron dong meron siyang branch doon eh ng Paeng, yung bowling alley niya. One time, we were there with my colleagues, and nandun siya, parang he visited the branch. Wala lang, parang hindi mo siya makita na ang daming kasama or may bodyguards and everything. If you know what I'm talking about, parang gano'n. Parang, dito ako, parang ganyan. Parang nandun siya, okay, parang ang tangkad niya, ang tangkad-tangkad niya. Tsaka ang
And it,
puti-puti niya.
and it doesn't hurt the pogi eh. Napogi to si Mr. Nepomuceno
Oo,
eh.
kaya isa pa yun,
Pogi.
at kaya ako natutuwa sa kanya kasi kaliwete siya. Frustration ko yun eh, na mag-excel sa isang bagay na gamit yung left hand ko. So, pagdating sa gitara, yan, sa ukulele, kasi kailangan mo siyang iakma dun sa pagiging kaliwete, di ba? So, pagdating sa bowling, kaliwete siya. So, natuwa ako sa kanya. Left-handed siya. So, kung kaya niya, kaya ko rin pala. Kasi nga, di ba, parang lahat na lang palaging pang right hand. So, parang nakita ko siya, kaliwete siya. And, tsaka yung mga tira niya, parang lagi siya na out of balance. Pero, taob lahat ng nung pinball. So, nakakatawa siya. Nakakatawang panoorin yung mga laban niya. Yun.
Mm.
So, he's one of my favorite athletes. Aside from yung i-discuss mo mamaya si cute si Bata. Yun. So, isa yun sa mga favorite athlete ko aside from, Paeng.
Pero
Yun.
hindi ko, ang siguro ang pagsisisi ko lang pagdating kay Mr. Paeng Nepomuceno, I've never watched any of his games. Siguro I'll try to
Watch.
look at some of the games. Maybe meron sa YouTube, no?
I'll send you
So,
one later.
meron kang link. Oo,
Oo.
papanoorin ko lang para ma-amaze din ako eh. Kasi ako banban talaga ako sa bowling. Mas,
Actually, naging PE namin yung dati nung college eh. And talagang, kasi nga, payat ako eh. So, ang bigat ng bola, di ba? So, parang feeling ko, isasama ako dun sa paghagis ko. So, tapos, yun nga, kasi nga kaliwete ako dun. So, parang paano to? Kasi kaliwa. So, ganyan. Yung instructor namin, kanan yung mga niya. So, parang, pwede bang, excuse na lang ako, gano'n.
oo.
Ayun.
Ang hirap eh. Ang hirap mag-bowling. Wala na, palagi ka pang kanal. Nakakawalang gana.
Kailangan mo talagang eh. Kaya medyo rin siya eh. Kaya feeling ko kaya magaling din siya. I mean, nag-excel din siya is because sa height niya and yung sa body, niya eh. Kasi tangkad niya. So,
Built
pag
for
So pag hagis niya talaga, malayo na yung mararating nung ano niya. Ayun.
Built for playing bowling talaga yung build niya, no? Oo.
Ayan. So, I'm not sure if you can just show one of the clip that I was able to get from pero ayan. So if you can just show probably one of his ayan, sa ating chat.
Saan?
Sa chat
Nag-share ka
natin.
ba?
Oo, sa chat.
Ah,
Ayan. Ayan. If you can just share just for our viewers and how good Mr. Paing Nepomuceno, mapapabilib kayo. Ayan.
ah. Oh, sige. Oh, ayan. Ito. Hindi ko pa puro strike ba yan? Puro strike ba
Oo.
yung mga ano niya?
Oo. Parang once lang siya nagmintis eh. Tapos, ang layo ng ano
Na-bad
niya.
trip siguro siya doon. Grabe, ayan. Ay, hindi dito. Ano to eh?
Ayun yung
Si
kalaban
ano
niya,
to
yung
eh?
USA.
Si Borat. Sorry.
Si, ano yan, Drew Highland, yan.
Kamukha ni Borat eh. Ayan, si
Ayan, ayan.
Mr. Paeng. Pogi
Tapos
oh.
siya, kalawete
Oh.
siya eh, di ba? And,
Ah.
lagi siyang out of balance pag nagtitira siya eh. Parang feeling mo matutumba na siya or what eh.
Oo
Oh,
nga, no, ba't ganun? Hindi, kasama yata yun sa ano, baka kasama yun para
part yun ng ano niya eh. Part ng momentum niya yun eh. Yung ganun eh.
oo, part ng momentum dun sa pag ano ng bola, ay nung pin. Ayun
Ayan
tawag ba
oo.
dyan?
Pero mo na
Oo.
sa gilid na siya. Tapos lahat yata ng tira niya, pasok.
Pero no, X oh, makita mo.
So, sobrang galing niya
Diyos me.
napapabilib talaga ako. Walang sinabi
Oo.
yung kalaban niya. Actually,
Ayan.
nakahabol
Oh,
yung kalaban niya nung latter part na ng game. Pero wala, layo na ng niya eh. Layo na ng score niya. So, hindi na nahabol.
masyado na siyang maraming wins. Masyado na siyang maraming, anong tawag doon kapag ka natumba mo lahat?
Strike, parang ganun. Or
Strikes.
something.
Oh,
Strikes, oo.
puro strikes
Ayan,
na.
no?
Oo.
So, talagang ano siya eh. Ayun. So, isa yun sa mga, ayun, kaya tama, I mean, he deserved the awards and the recognition that was given to him by our government as well. Ayun. So, ayan. So, si Mr. Paeng Nepomuceno, until now, ayan, you guys should check out his yung mga laban niya. Yan, like yung pinakita natin kanina. And talagang mapapahanga kayo sa kanya. Ayan. Okay.
Mm.
So, ito, syempre, hindi lang naman tayo magaling hindi lang naman tayo mga Pinoy, hindi lang naman tayo magaling pagdating sa sports. Marami rin tayong ibang kayang gawin. I mean, we can also excel from art, music, pageantry. Yan, alam mo, pageantry talagang ano rin tayo dyan eh, medyo palaban din tayo. So, ang kasunod nung 1999, she won or she finished as the first runner-up in the Miss Universe pageant. Si Miriam Kiambao. So, si Miss Miriam Kiambao, very controversial din yung yung laban niya. Kasi that time, nadulas siya sa stage nung long gown competition naapakan niya yung gown niya. Pero the way she stood up and the way she raised the challenge na nangyari sa kanya sa stage. Talaga nagpalakpakan eh. Parang naging advantage pa yung pagkadapa niya o yung pagkadulas niya sa pagkasama niya dun sa top 5. Kasi naging parang naging sagot niya yun eh. Sabi niya kanina, sinabi niya na yung nangyari sa akin kanina, nung nadulas ako, it represents the women who fell down but stood up, parang ganon. So, that that put her on the position na napunta siya sa top 5 and then top 3. So, yun, hanggang sa nanalo siya as first runner-up. And, yun, so, di ba, ang tagal nating walang hindi nakaka-place sa top 5
Yung huli mo no,
after
si Gloria,
after Gloria Diaz.
not Gloria Arroyo.
Gloria Diaz yun.
Not
So,
Gloria Arroyo. what was her name? Gloria, ano? Gloria
Gloria
Diaz. Shit.
Diaz.
Oh, Gloria Diaz.
Oo.
Oh.
So after ni Miss Gloria Diaz, 'di ba, parang wala na tayong kasunod na naka-place man lang kahit sa top 5 or top 3. Pero yun, so si Miss Miriam Kimbo yung nagputol nung ano na yun. And
Nung
then,
drought mo.
oo, ng
Oo.
drought. Tapos, sunod-sunod na yan. So, until nagkaroon na tayo ng 2000s, medyo naging palaban na tayo. Like, Pia Wurtzbach and Catriona Gray. Yun. So, yun nga. So, naging advantage yung pagkadapa niya that time or pagkadulas niya. So, naging, ano pa yun, naging, kumbaga, ginamit niya yung experience na yun. So, very, ano yun napaka, um, memorable din yung, ano na yan. Kasi yun nga, may nangyari sa akin sa stage. Yun. Tapos nanalo pa siya as first runner-up. Yun. So, nakakatawa. So, isa rin yun sa nagbigay ng karangalan sa Pilipinas. When it comes to pageantry naman, di ba? Ayun. So, ayan. So, isang pagpupugay din sa dinilang karangalan ni Miss Miriam Kiambao noong 1999 sa Pilipinas dahil sa kanya nabuhay ulit yung dugo nating mga ano mahilig sa beauty pageant and mas nag-excel pa tayo after that, after her winning the first runner-up. Yun. Ayan. So,
Yeah.
very memorable. Very
Parang ano
memorable
eh.
yan.
Very memorable siya. Pero hindi actually, naalala ko nga yata yun, yung natalisod siya. Tapos, yun yung ginamit niya yung pagkatalisod niya as as a springboard para makakuha ng award no. So binaliktad niya yung situation na hindi niya hinayaan na dahil doon sa pagkakapatid niya feeling niya wala na,
Exactly.
panatalo na siya kasi yun na naman sa 'di ba, sa pageantry. Ano ba yung makikita mo sa pageantry, 'di ba? Yung naglalakad-lakad ka tapos pa-posing siya tapos 'di ba, so gusto mo pakita yung gracefulness of a lady. So kung matapatid ka, syempre ang iisipin mo siguro yun is talo na kasi
Wala na. At saka buong
talo
mundo
na
yung nakapanood sa'yo, di ba? Buong mundo yun. So, parang
Oo, talo na yun. Natalisod ka saan na yung gracefulness doon? Hindi napapasok. So, pero ginamit niya
Pero,
yun, which is a good thing.
before yung incident na yun, isa siya sa mga strongest contenders. Kasi, siya nag-ano siya, nag number 1 siya or nakuha niya yung pinakamataas na score or sorry,
Binib-
nakakuha siya siya yung palagi nagto-top or nakakakuha ng second place sa mga preliminary like yung yung evening gown, swimsuit competition. 'Di ba may mga ano yan may category yan like swimsuit competition, evening gown competition. Siya lagi yung nagto-top 2. Siya yung nakakakuha ng second highest score. 'Yon.
Okay. Tapos dahil doon sa napatid siya kaya siya natalo, ganun ba yun? So tama nga.
Hindi, siguro it's
That was
because
the
of the
reason.
probably because of the way she walked, the way she yung pagdala ng gown, pagdala ng swimsuit, 'di ba? So ayun. So ano siya?
Pero
So palagi siyang
that was good. That was good enough kasi nga yung last natin si Gloria Diaz pa, that was
oo, 'di ba?
1970s pa yon. So 20 years. 20 years of nothing, di ba? Not even a runner-up position. And this is hindi naman to gaya ng Olympics na you have to qualify every,
Exactly.
di ba, for a specific sport. You have to first finish or win in the qualifiers before ka makapasok sa Olympics. We always have somebody palagi tayo mayroong contender from the Philippines who joins the Miss Universe. Pero none of them were able to get any awards except for Miriam Cambiao. 20
Yep.
years after we won the prestigious pageant in the
Yes,
1970s.
exactly. Yun. And she also received ang dami niyang nakakuhang award before that Yun. So
Google ako. Oo nga pag naman
iba yung
hopefully not yet.
oo,
Not
iba
until
yung
such time na we have another legend in the making, no? Kasi
yeah, and iba
syempre
yung
parang national
charisma kasi.
treasure na sila
Yes,
National
exactly.
treasure na yung mga yan.
Ayun. So, ayan. So, hindi lang naman talaga tayo sa sports nag-excel, no? Kumbaga, not only with being athletic, but with nag-excel din tayo pagdating nag-excel din ang Pilipinas when it comes to pageantry, beauty and grace and beauty and brains, yan. So, yan. So, itong is pang-apat ko, ito, of course, halos lahat naman tayo dito, batang 90s, ay nakinig, inidolo sila, ginawa silang inspirasyon kapag bumuo sila ng sariling banda. Yun na yung Eraserheads. Kaya ako nasabing isa sa mga nagbigay ng parangal ng Eraserheads sa bansa natin. Kasi, um, ang Eraserheads lang naman, ang first ever Filipino artist to win the coveted Moonman Trophy sa 1997 MTV Asia's Viewers' Choice Award. So, ang daming nag-compete na Asian artist that time, and it was our own Eraserheads. Ayun, who who won the first ever Filipino artist. Yan. So, yung Ang Huling El Bimbo, dahil sa Ang Huling El Bimbo. So, yung mga kasabayan nila, actually, ayan. So, yung mga kasabayan nila ng mga other Asian countries, other Asian artists, yun. And
Mm.
hindi lang naman din dyan sa award na yan, nagtatapos yung recognition ng, I mean, yung pagdala ng Eraserhead ng recognition sa Pilipinas eh. Kasi, if I remember, one of their song was featured as a soundtrack. I forget the movie. Yan. So, aside from Eraserhead, we have the Wolfgang. Meron silang kanta na naging part ng isang soundtrack. Yun. So, maraming napabilibang Eraserheads. Not only us, 'di ba, dito sa Pilipinas, pati Asian, I mean, pati buong Asia na pabilib sa Eraserheads. And of course, they are also recognized all over the world, yun. So, Eraserheads was um excel in the music industry naman. Yan. So we all know naman na ang achievement ng Eraserheads, di na kailangan isa-isahin pa. So yun.
Oo,
Yan.
tsaka ano
And
kasi sila, eh, sila yung Filipino artist sa talagang homegrown na dito, eh, grassroots mo talaga is dito ka lumaki, na-recognize internationally. Kasi 'di ba?
yes.
So they began their career here in the Philippines. They grew big in the Philippines and then started doing releasing international albums, 'di ba?
Yes.
So, yun, homegrown artist talaga sila. Hindi sila, and I'm not saying na yung na na they're better than the artists, Filipino artists who were born in abroad and became famous in abroad. It's just that, syempre, when you're coming from the Philippines, 'di ba, yung mas mahirap eh. It's harder to gain international recognition if you start if you start from your home country and then spread outwards, 'di ba? So,
Mm-mm.
pero nagawa nila. They were able to release an album. I don't remember ano yung specifically, kung Aloha Milky Way ba 'yon? Tama ba? Yun ba yung international album nila? I don't remember. Pero they were one of the grassroots Filipino bands that were able to release an international
Mm-mm.
album. So that
Yeah, I
is
think
that
the
is
one with
something
the
to ano.
Tamagotchi baby yung
Tamagotchi Baby. Okay, okay. So
yung
that's
single na
something to
yan. Yan.
be proud of for the Razorheads. It's something to be proud of for them. Oo.
Yun. So,
Ayun.
nakakabilib talaga na hindi lang, again, as I've said earlier, hindi lang tayo sa sports nag-excel. So, marami rin. Now, um, okay, so now itong aking last, I think she's also one of her kind sa field na pinili niya. Is none other than Lisa Makuha Elizalde. So, sa ballet naman siya, sa field of ballet. So, imagine, I mean, during the 90s up to now, parang wala pa akong ibang nakita or narinig na naging prominent ang name or matunog ang name sa larangan ng ballet other than our own Lisa Makuha Elizalde. So, uh, she yan, so si Lisa, she excel on her own field. And not only that, I mean, nagtayo rin siya ng Ballet Manila. So, hindi lang, hindi lang siya isang ballet dancer, but she wants to share the experience, or she wants to experience her skills to our future ballerinas. Ayun, and ballerina. Yan. So, um, hindi lang naman dito siya, nag-start ang career niya abroad. Although she started her career here, or she studied here, she studied ballet here, but she became the first foreign soloist to ever join. So imagine siya yung first ever foreign. So not only as first ever Filipina, but first foreign soloist to ever join the Kiro Ballet or in Russia. So that itself means a lot to us Filipinos. Kasi, I mean, pag tinanggap ka sa Russia, 'di ba? Especially Imperial Russian Ballet, that means a lot. And we all know that nung 90s kung anong meron sa Russia, 'di ba? So, she's the first foreign soloist na nabigyan ng pagkakataon na maka-join sa Imperial Russian Ballet, or also known as the Kiro Ballet. So, ang galing ni Miss Liza Makuha Elizalde when it comes to her when it comes to ballet. And um because she studied abroad as well in Russia, uh ang dami niyang awards na nakuha um outside the country. And I remember um the former Senator Miriam Santiago was proposing, I think before she died, before her untimely death. Isa sa mga pinopropose ni Senator Miriam Santiago is to um make make Lisa Makuha as one of the national artists in performing arts. Yun. So may nabasa ko yung niya yung um introduction ni Senator Miriam Santiago, expressing the sense of yung nomination ni Lisa Makuha to be awarded as a national artist for dance. Pero sadly nga hindi siya na napasa, or na kasi I think she died already. So parang ayun. And one of the reason why she was nominated by the former Senator Miriam Santiago, because um according to Senator Miriam, no Filipina ballerina has yet surpassed the recognition and pride. Lisa, ito babasahin ko yung PDF file nung sa Senate. Pride that Lisa Makuha Elizalde has brought to the Philippines. She's the embodiment of talent, creativity, and imagination, technical proficiency of the highest order, grace and humanity that makes her worthy of the title of national artist. Yun. So, that was in 2015 yata, or 2012 yung nomination na yun. Yun. So,
So ito yung
nomination pa lang.
si Lisa Makuha yata, nakilala ko lang dito sa commercial din eh. Hindi ko maalala kung anong
Yung
shampoo ba
commercial
yun.
nung commercial
Sabon.
nung, and ko alam kung,
Dove yata yun eh. Dove.
marami siyang naging commercial eh. Meron siyang commercial ng nakasama niya yung mga anak niya, si Missy. Parang may commercial siya nun eh, about yung gato siya, para ganun.
Oo. Marami siyang commercial eh. Kasi ito si Lisa Makuha, tingnan mo na itsura niya, 'di ba? May pagka-chinita eh. Alam mo naman tayo, mga Pinoy, mahilig tayo sa maputi, tsaka chinita. So, definitely qualified siya in terms of yung sa sa beauty and all. Pero yung sa talent, in terms of talent, no? So I was just watching, di ba, pinakita mo yung link kanina. Ang galing ng movement niya. So graceful.
Yes.
So, napapalakpak nga ako eh. Na ang galing. Galing. And I think before Lisa Makuha came into the picture, became very famous in the Philippines, I think maybe ballet was a form of artistry or dance na siguro few people, particularly siguro sa elite lang, sila lang
Oo.
yung elite or siguro
Parang
mga
a few
class
people
A,
appreciate eh, di ba?
appreciate ballet. But then when she became famous in the Philippines, marami ng mga girls na aspiring to be like her. So
Mm-mm.
it brought ballet into the senses, 'di ba, sa awareness of the Filipino. Not just
Yes.
for the Filipino na medyo may pera, but also to also to the masses.
Yeah. And
So
she
they see. Mm-mm.
and she mentioned that during one of her interview that one of the reasons she founded Ballet Manila is to bring this kind of artistry towards the masses. Kasi yung pag pinalabas yung mga performances ng mga ballet Manila, parang yung ticket is affordable, and then anyone can, parang if you want to be a scholar, let's say you don't have enough money to study ballet but you want to be a ballerina, they offer scholarship. So Ballet Manila offers scholarship, and their their shows, that's in Pasay, 'di ba? If you remember, Star City is just next to the Ballet Manila. Yeah, because it's the property of the Elizalde. Anyway, so uh she made the show affordable for the masses. So you can, sabi niya nga parang you can watch the show. Minsan may mga show sila para 50 pesos lang yung entrance, ganun. So I remember I watched during high school ako. Nakanood kami noon eh. That was in yun nga sa may somewhere in malapit sa Star City yun eh. So that was 50 pesos, parang buong section namin parang nag-ano dun, parang field trip, para nanood kami ng isang show. The Nutcracker yata yun or something. Yun. So,
Mm-mm.
yun yung gusto niyang mangyari. That's why she founded Ballet Manila. Yun.
Awesome.
Ayun.
Oo.
Ang galing,
Yun
'di
nga
ba?
yung ano no.
Pamilang
So before ako siguro before ko i-launch yung aking mga idols in the 90s, yung may common theme eh na makikita mo rito no. So lahat ng mga feature natin ng mga famous people or very mga famous people ba or talented people I could say. Lahat sila, they are pioneers for the Filipino people. So they were the ones who broke the mold. So they were the ones who broke that idea na the Filipinos can actually achieve something. And not just, not just for the Filipino. It's not they're not just doing this for the Filipinos, but for themselves as well, 'di ba? Na parang lahat because of the limitations that na meron sa Philippines, they were still able to break through
mm.
and were still able to become successful. So, and they're very, very talented. So, hindi lang Philippines actually yung sinasabi nila na nag-benefit dito, but across Asia. So,
Yes.
a lot of the talents and a lot of the records that they broke in the sports that they were into or in the arts, lahat yan also opened up opportunities for Asians and not just for Filipinos. So we
Exactly.
were just fortunate actually na these are all Filipino blooded that they were born in the Philippines, that we were able to attach the Philippines sa mga talents na ito. Otherwise, wala pa ring wala wala pa rin tayo. As Filipinos, we will not be able to go into these kinds of fields and
Mm.
be recognized. Yan. So,
Exactly.
ayan. So
Yun.
before ako mag-start ng akin, Tita Kay, meron ka pa ba ng mga sasabihin
Yeah,
for
so far
your
yan yung 5 Pinoy achievers during the 90s na naalala ko. So, yun, probably later after we discuss yours, I can think of more. Yan.
sige. So yung sa akin na. So let's start with my favorite, si Miss Lea Salonga. Lea Salonga. So ako kasi personally, I am a fan of the arts, specifically sa theater. So I love watching theater. I was also a performer back when I was in high school. So we were
Sample,
doing
sample.
stage plays. Sample. So I was doing stage plays. And yes, so alam ko na mahirap talaga when it comes to, doing these stage plays. And yan, si Lea Salonga is, well, nanalo siya ng Tony Awards. So,
Mm.
Lea Salonga, before becoming famous, she actually started doing some stints in the Philippines already. So, actually, as young as 7 years old, she has started doing stage plays and musicals sa repertory of the Philippines.
Yeah.
So nakita mo 'di ba? And I think it applies to across sa lahat ng mga sinabi natin dito, sa mga sabi natin mga i-feature natin mga talents dito. All of them started very young.
Mm-mm.
All of them started very young and they were focused in their specific field. So specific ito si Lea Salonga was focused on doing musicals. But then the funny thing about Lea Salonga is she actually went into the Ateneo. So she was studying medicine. Can
Ang
you
lalim.
imagine? Yeah, she was studying medicine, but I think at the time that she auditioned for Miss Saigon, she was in Ateneo de Manila studying medicine. So, can you just imagine what if Lea Salonga decided not to actually pursue the musical and the arts, but instead went to medicine, di ba? We wouldn't have this national treasure right here. And look at the achievements that this lady got received. So, she won the Tony Awards for her role as Kim in the Miss Saigon.
The first Asian who
Oh, the
won the
first
Tony Award.
Asian. She is the first Asian who got a Tony Awards, 'di ba? And it also opened up kasi ito the Miss Saigon started as a show in the West End in London,
Mm-mm.
right? So, of course, meron tayo sa West End which is the UK, London, and then you also have a famous theater location in the US which is yung Broadway, right? So, back in the day, may pagka-stigma pagdating sa Asians So, normally Americans what they want and this is what happened to her actually. Naging controversy to at that time. So, when Macintosh, the producer of Miss Saigon was trying to bring Miss Saigon from the West End to the Broadway. So, the Americans and especially the American Union wanted somebody from America. Gusto nila yung talents nila from America yung ipasok
Mm-mm.
as characters. So initially, they started to replace the engineer. So in Miss Saigon, there was a role called the engineer. So they wanted an American to do that role, but Macintosh eventually won. So he was able to bring in his actor, right? But then what they said was, no, we wanted an Asian American to do Kim's role. So they didn't want Leia to come in. They wanted someone an Asian, but who was born or who probably Americanized, 'di ba, in the US. So, but eventually natalo rin 'yon. So they were still able to bring Leia Salonga on Broadway for the role. So naging successful din siya doon. Pero 'di ba 'yun yung problema and after getting the Tony Awards, winning the Tony Awards for Miss Saigon, Lea Salonga also struggled a little bit in getting other roles
Mm-mm.
sa West End. So it doesn't mean that she won the Tony Awards that she was able to easily get more roles. So she got a lucky break when Macintosh again invited her to play the role of Eponine sa
Mm-mm.
Les Miserables.
Yeah.
Yes. So again, it's an Asian playing a French girl's role. So yun nga yung issue kasi a lot of the stage plays or a lot of plays that were produced in the UK, in the West End and in the Broadway, syempre lahat naman yan is based on the themes of Western ideology, 'di
Yes.
ba?
Mm-mm.
So, like Les Miserables is based on a French Revolution, blah blah blah, right? West Side Story, Grease. Grease is an American musical, 'di ba? Based on the lifestyle of the people in the 1970s and 1980s. So, syempre, ang iisipin ng mga tao or at least the producers for those plays is we needed someone who are Caucasian, 'di ba?
Mm-mm.
Who actually represent the characters that are being portrayed in these stage plays. But Lea Salonga came in and said, no, Asians can also do these things, right? So si Lea Salonga was the first, I think, Asian who was able to penetrate the role,
The role.
especially of
Yep.
Les Miserables. So right now, if you watch stage place in the UK, or like Les Miserables, you can see some Asians there as well.
Mm.
So
She opened the
Asians have
door
started.
to
Yeah,
Asian
she opened the
Broadway
door.
artists.
Yeah, for Asians to play roles on Broadway and in the West End. So ang laking ano yan, ang laking achievement yan. Not just for the Philippines, but also
But
for
for
the
Asians.
Asians.
Yeah.
Yeah, Asian artists who want to make it big sa, and because syempre 'di ba, ang gold standard naman when it comes to musicals and theater would be plays that are being shown in the West End, in the Broadway. So once you're there, actually, you ano ka, bigati ka talaga.
Exactly.
You're really one of the best. And being rewarded a Tony Award, 'di ba? You're pitted amongst the best of all the artists back in the UK and in the, 'di ba? But you still got a Tony Award. That says a lot about you as an artist. So it was, so Lea Salonga cannot beat she cannot be beat when it comes to these things. And she yun nga, so she played Kim. She also played Eponine in Les Miserables, and after that she landed so many roles now doing musicals. No, so yeah, so one of the best, one of my idols actually when it comes to plays. What I probably ang siguro napapagsisihan ko or is hindi ako nakapanood ng performance niya. I was able to watch one of her performance in Cats. So she performed a character in Cats in Manila when I was in Manila sometime in 2012, 13 ba? I don't remember. That was a long time ago. But I couldn't watch her. So the only time I could watch Lea Salonga, I really wanted to see her in ano to, Miss Saigon.
Mm.
So pag wala hindi mo na papapanood. You can never Syempre hindi mo na babalik ang matanda na si Lea Salonga. She won't be able to play the role again.
Yeah.
No, so it's one of the probably the disappointments na who I wish I was born earlier and I was able to witness the talent of this lady. And you can still watch, actually pag napanood mo sa YouTube. So I did watch some performances of Kim, which is played by other artists, no, and then I compared them to how Leia played it. Nothing
Mm.
compares, iba pa rin talaga yung original. And then also yung sa Eponine. So when I watched Lea Salonga sing on my own. When you watch Lea Salonga sing on my own, tas i-compare mo sa I
Iba,
recently
iba.
watched. Yeah, iba eh. So I recently watched Les Miserables. So I was lucky enough to be able to travel to London. So me and my wife, we watched Les Miserables there. So, my expectation kami when it comes to how Eponine normally sings, ang layo.
Kumbaga may
Iba't
pamantayan
iba
na
to
kayo, eh.
si,
Standard.
oo, may gold standard na when it comes
Oo.
to how Eponine should be or how Eponine acts. And wala, nothing compares pa rin. I'm sure there will be a lot of artists who can match or even top that. Unfortunately, no pinanood namin hindi. Medyo na-disappoint nga kami nung wife ko kasi we were hoping
Yun,
for a Leia Salonga-esque performance, which unfortunately was not
oo.
there.
Meron
So,
akong napanood na ganyan,
anyway,
eh, na parang, vocal reaction or coach parang vocal coach reaction. Pinag-side by side niya yung mga performances ni and then nothing can be talaga yung pronunciation, yung enunciation ni yung
Leia,
crystal clear voice ni Lea Salonga compared to the others who played the same role. Yun.
mm, iba talaga. Mapapansin mo talaga yung difference. Malaking difference. So, so there. So, Leia Salonga, one of my top, one of the
And of
greatest
course, siya
Filipinos
si
that ever
ano,
lived.
Princess Jasmine, tsaka si Milan, 'di ba?
Alin, sorry?
Siya si Miss, of course, hindi natin pwedeng makalimutan na siya si Princess Jasmine, 'di ba? A whole
Oo.
new
So,
world,
yun
'di ba?
nga eh.
Tsaka,
And because of that, she actually started, 'di ba? She's getting hired to do voiceovers as a voice
mm,
actor or as an
mm,
artist for certain Disney musicals. Siya yung kumanta. Pati yung sa Mulan, 'di ba? Siya rin yung kumanta
Oo,
doon,
siya
yung
rin
part
yung
of
kumanta. Oo.
oo. So, gano'n ka ka-famous. Gano'n ka ka-famous. So, very ano, very possibly very fortunate as well kasi alam naman natin Lea Salonga and the Salonga family, they came from a prominent family.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of the art, so a lot of the other talents that we discussed or we will discuss, nanggaling sila karamihan galing sa mahirap na lugar. So, 'di ba? So, opportunity is scarce.
Yep.
So, ito si Leia, she was able to grab onto the opportunity na was made available to her. I think it was easy, but then she deserved it. So, kasi karamihan, 'di ba, uso sa atin yung mga dahil kesyo famous, na 'di ba maling issue 'yun sa atin na
Mhm.
sinasabi natin hindi natin binibigyan ng opportunity yung mga
Sa
Filipinos. Just like what
oo.
happened to this controversy with Pacquiao playing in the PBA. So maraming nagalit na how come Pacquiao who 'di ba bakit? Hindi naman siya professional basketball
Exactly.
player but he's able to play in a team. So he doesn't
Mm.
deserve to be there, right? So but here, there's the longest difference. So she really proved to everyone and to the whole world that she deserved to be in that
Tsaka
position, which
i
is mm,
hindi lang work it privilege siya kaya ano, kasi yung pinagdaanan niya nakita ko yung audition niya and then yung training niya sa Broadway and then yung mga struggle niya kasi 'di ba sa ibang bansa ka, 'di ba, you have to live alone. Sabi niya wala yung mom niya parang gano'n. Before, she's with her mom pero nung nagtagal parang hindi na niya kasama yung mommy niya dun sa ano. So, iba rin yung pinagdaanan ni Miss Liza Salonga na hirap. So, of course, ikaw I know Mr. George, alam mo 'to kasi 'di ba you're working, outside the country. So, if you're working outside the country, hindi gano'n ang treatment. Hindi katulad dito sa atin na may puwede kang kumuha ng alalay or 'di ba, parang PA mo, yung mga artista dito puwedeng kumuha ng PA, alalay. Do'n kailangan mo talagang, paghirapan or yung disiplina tsaka yung yung atake mo sa I mean yung ano mo sa trabaho mo, iba, ah, kusa walang susunod sa'yo, wala kang assistant, 'di ba? So, ikaw lahat. So, marami din siyang pinagdaanan na ano, na para marating kung ano yung narating niya ngayon, yun.
I'm sure naman. I'm just saying na kasi yung availability of the opportunity. Kasi 'di ba? So even na magaling ka, kahit na magaling ka, kung hindi ka naman kung siguro hindi ka galing from a more famous no, sorry. What I'm trying to say is meron kasing mas open na yung opportunity pagka coming ka from a more prominent family or
Mm.
from a prominent upbringing. Whereas yung mga nasa laylayan or yung mga nasa masses, mas hirap sila. Mas hirap sila to be able to get recognized. So,
Exactly.
yun lang
Kaya
naman
nga yung mga
yung gusto kong
athletes natin
sabihin.
'di ba
Oo.
minsan ano sila, yung mga athletes natin kadalasan hirap sila, kulang sa budget yung training, so gano'n.
Mm.
Hindi gano'n ka-ano, yun. By the way ano, si
Mm.
Miss Lea Salonga, if you search her name meron na siyang kasamang OL, katulad ni Mr. Paeng Nepomuceno. Kasi she was also given the Order of Lacandula. So, one of the highest civilian orders na puwedeng ibigay ng Pilipinas sa mga
Mm.
ano niya. So, nakakatuwa kasi yung mga parang kumbaga sa sa, London 'di ba yung parang, knights, yung ina-knights ka ni Queen Elizabeth 'di ba? Magkakaroon ka na Sir Ian McKellen 'di ba gano'n. So, sila din gano'n. So, yun yung recognition sa kanila. Order of
Mm.
Lacandula naman.
Isa pa pala, oo. So, meron silang recognition, parang Sir United, gano'n eh. Sa atin iba eh.
Tsaka
May ganun din
ano,
tayo,
sila
counterpart.
Salonga
Oo.
gamer yan, video gamer siya.
Video gamer ba yan?
Naalala ko kasi nung PSP days. Ayan, naglalaro siya ng PSP nun, eh.
Ah.
Ayan.
Yan, tsaka ano pa
Anyway,
pala, isa pa pala na naging barrier actually. Isang barrier yung ano niya eh, yung pagiging Pilipino sa yung Filipino traditions natin. Kasi 'di ba, alam naman natin Filipinos are very conservative.
Yeah.
So, and her role as Kim in
Oo.
napanood mo ba? Napanood mo ba yung Miss Saigon?
Oo.
So,
Alam mo yung 'di ba parang naka-ano lang siya nun, naka-underwear lang siya, tapos t-shirt. So parang,
naka-underwear
ah,
lang siya.
yung ano, I mean naka-t-shirt tapos underwear underneath, naka-panty lang siya, parang gano'n.
Oo. May kissing scene sila, tapos
Oo.
'di ba? Tapos meron silang after nilang mag-sex kunwari dun sa play. 'Di ba may mga ganun silang mga roles eh. So that's totally in contravention to our Filipino beliefs, 'di ba? As a very religious and conservative country.
Yep,
So she had to put that away, put that aside para magampanan niya yung role na yon. And I'm sure it would have been very uncomfortable for her
yep.
to be, 'di ba? To be kissing someone in front of an audience. So, 'di ba?
And
So,
not
and it
only
has to be
once, but
not only once.
five times a
Yes.
week. The
It has to
duration
be
of the show.
passionate. Yes, and it has to be passionate. Kasi people will not believe you if they see na parang peke lang eh. Hindi, kailangan full of lust, full of passion yung halikan na gagawin nila. And in front of an audience, 'di ba? So, ganun yung sinasabi mo kanina yung hardship. I think that's one of the things na she needed to overcome, and she
Yes.
overcame it. I think nabasa ko yata sa isang mga interviews, parang naisip niya kasi yung pwedeng sabihin nung mga kababayan niya sa kanya.
Mm.
'Di ba? Alam naman tayo kapag ka nakita tayo, ay may nabuntis ganyan o nabuntis yan o 'di
Parang, ay,
ba?
ano ba
O
yan?
ano yan malandi yan ganyan. Especially in the 90s, no. Now medyo progressive na tayo, but in the 90s that was like that. So naisip niya kung ano yung pwedeng maisip ng mga tao sa ginagawa niya. Pero eventually people accepted it. Na she's just doing it just for the sake of art. Which
Yep.
is yun lang naman talaga yung purpose nun when she's
And yung
doing
respeto
that
sa
role in
kanya, 'di ba?
acting.
Walang halong ano eh. Hindi siya na ano doon. I mean, hindi siya nagkaroon ng ibang connotation doon sa ginagawa niya.
Walang
The same,
backlash.
wala, 'di ba? The same
Walang
respect was given to
backlash.
her. Yan.
Which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. Ayan. So that's Leia Salonga. And my next one is yung sinasabi ni Tita Kay kanina, the brother of Mr. Roel Velasco, si Mr. Mansueto Onyok Velasco. So the guy won the silver medal in the Summer Olympics. So what
Very
else can you
controversial
say?
Summer Olympics.
The controversial Summer Olympics. What else? What more can you say, 'di ba? So far, siya lang yung Filipino. I mean, one of the Filipinos who was able to bag a silver for the country in the Olympics. And the Olympics is no joke. So, 'di ba? So he won I think the gold in the Asian Games. So
Mm.
a lot of our athletes win golds in the SEA Games and all of that. Pero and I'm not belittling our athletes, no. But what I'm saying is, so they can bag a lot of golds on the regional or on the sea game or ASEAN level, but once they reach the Olympics, wala na, hindi na tayo nakaka-place.
Not enough yung
So,
trainings. Yeah.
oo, hindi na eh. And then here comes Onyok Velasco, who won a silver for the country. It was our first silver for boxing. And that was the only silver since then. Wala na.
Yep.
hindi na nakuha ulit. Hindi na tayo ulit nakakuha ng silver. So, and Mansueto Velasco, I think, yan. So, he's a great boxer. He became a comedian. And so nag-veer away siya dun sa ano niya, sa main line of work niya. Yeah, but yeah, so he brought the medal to the country, and then eventually he shifted his career into acting. He moved away from boxing. But not entirely, since right now he's still I think doing so kino-consult siya when it comes to the Philippine Sports Commission and all that,
Yep.
no? Pero oo. But the unfortunate thing about Onyok, and I'm not sure if this is true still. So I just read in one of his interviews na I think when he won the silver, he was promised a 2 million peso
Mm.
grant
Yep. Mm-mm.
which never came. So poor guy. So hindi ang that was back in 2016 ah. So that was an interview back in 2016. I'm not sure if may nangyari na nakuha niya yung pera, but back in 2016 he never got the money. So what he got was a pension for 7,000 pesos per month from the government. So until now nakakuha siya ng pension for 7,000 per month. So 7,000 per month in the Philippines is nothing. It's barely anything. I mean, you cannot sustain a family. And I think the only
Mm.
reason why he was able to survive is because of his acting stint. I think doon siya, 'di ba? So doon siya nakakuha ng pera eh sa acting stints niya. And I think alam mo ba na meron siyang film sa sarili. Ang ang title ng film niya is wait, let me open up my research notes. Ang
Alam ko,
kanyang
ano siya
film
eh, vlogger
ay
siya ngayon eh.
Atletang Mandirigma, The Onyok Velasco Story. Alam mo ba yon? Meron siyang
Oo.
pelikula na ginawa.
Oo. Oo.
So meron siya tapos ang leading lady niya doon si Ina Raimundo. So
Oh,
actually
'di ba?
gusto kong pag-aralan kasi yung ano niya eh. Gusto kong pag-aralan kaya ako ni-research yon. Gusto kong pag-aralan yung early life niya. Paano siya na-discover, paano siya nag-start sa boxing, ganyan. Wala akong makita eh. This was the only one I can find. Eh nakita ko na syempre pag something na dinala sa sinehan, medyo may ano na yun eh, creative indulgences na. So hindi na
May dagdag
hindi
na.
na true to form or 'di ba? So marami ng mga dinagdag na kung ano-anong rekado na nagiging more or less close to fiction na siya. So hindi mo siya magandang basis. Pero ang nakita ko lang, so whenever he does his interviews, ang lagi niya na sinasabi is yung training. So
Mm.
kailangan training, kailangan disiplinado ka. I think that's always the message that they're being said. And also he also mentioned a lot of times na whenever you're in a competition like the Olympics, na you don't put pressure on yourself na you'll think na you're in the Olympics na oh my god, nasa Olympics na ako, 'di ba? So don't do that. Just think of it as your normal sparring. And I think yun nga eh. I mean, malaking pressure din sa kanya yun eh kasi 'di ba? Hindi mo well, to be fair, wala naman talaga tayong track record eh when it comes to the Olympics. So, I think it would have been more mas pressure yun actually kapag may track record tayo na nananalo sa Olympics tapos sasaba ka ulit. So tayo actually ang goal natin is to actually get at least just a bronze eh, 'di
Mm.
ba? So pero nonetheless the pressure will still be there. And I think me also, so as I said, I also perform, 'di ba? So whenever you perform live, then you always have to think na yung pressure papasok palagi eh. You always have to condition yourself and tell yourself na it's gonna be okay. So, malaking pressure din 'yon, 'di ba? And maraming ano sa maraming umaasa sa ng mga
Mm.
Pilipinos. And I think that's probably one of the barriers or hurdles na experience ng mga athletes natin who were very good at the SEA Games, but when they were able to go to the Olympic level, hindi na sila nakaka-place. Siguro matinding pressure din yung na face nila dun sa
Oo, iba kasi
competition.
talaga ang Olympic ring. Iba talaga rin yung kasi buong mundo na yung kakompete mo nun eh. Unlike, let's say for example, Southeast Asian game. Actually, like for example, yung nasabi mo nga, Mr. George, kung paano nagsimula si Mr. Velasco, si Mr. Onyok Velasco, kung bakit siya naging boxer. Wala naman daw talaga siyang hilig. But since he's um,
It runs in the
he's
family.
aside from that, maliit kasi siyang tao, 'di ba? Compared to his brothers, maliit siya. So lagi siya nabubully. Sabi niya nabubully daw
Yes,
siya.
yes, yes. True, true. Mm.
Kaya nagsimula daw siya mag-aral ng boxing para ano, para matuto siya
Makigante.
lumaban doon sa mga nambubully sa kanya.
Oo, oo.
Ayun. Tsaka
Oo.
very controversial yung pagkapanalo niya ng silver medal sa Olympics kasi not only us Filipinos think he got robbed, but other countries too. I remember even the celebrities, Hollywood celebrities na nanood nung fight niya. like sila Sylvester Stallone, nandun sila nung Olympics. Kasi sa Amerika ginawa yung Summer Olympics and very controversial yun kasi 'di ba yun yung Centennial Olympic bombing, pinasabog
Mm.
yung nagkaroon ng pagsabog dun. So they ano talaga, they see na parang hindi tama yung decision na dun sa Bulgarian boxer na kalaban ni Mr. Onyok Velasco mapunta yung gold medal. Kasi yung decision is parang siya yung nanalo. So,
Ang laking ano
ang
ang
laking
laking issue
controversial
niyan.
nun, oo.
Naalala ko 'yan nung bata tayo.
'Di
Naalala
ba?
ko 'yan na
Kaya,
yan yung balita palagi na sa lahat sa TV Patrol, pati sa headline niyan ng dyaryo.
oo, we got
Onyok
robbed.
Velasco got robbed of his gold medal in the Olympics. Kasi to be fair naman, it was a big deal for us eh. Kasi if ever that will be our very first gold
Gold,
in the
yes.
Olympics. Well, silver is it's not bad, but gold is gold, 'di ba?
Yeah.
It was
History
a
ka
big
na dun.
disappointment. Oo, and kasi nung time na 'yon siguro and siguro malaki talaga yung chance natin. Kumbaga
Mm.
it was a it was a opportunity to finally grab a gold, no? So but we weren't able to because pero to be fair, pinanood ko rin naman yung laban niya. I didn't watch the whole thing, no? But kasi makita mo talaga yung length difference.
Mm.
Yung Bulgarian
Maliit.
has a very long reach.
Yes.
So pag nakita mo talaga, kumbaga yung suntok-suntok niya, hindi niya kailangan si Onyok, he needs to go in. He needs to be able to go inside to land a punch. Whereas yung Bulgarian, kailangan lang, gumanon-ganon lang siya, magja-jab-jab lang siya, kaya niya na masuntok si Onyok. So I think that was the reason why the judges no was the judges of that match gave the game to the Bulgarian and not to Onyok. So syempre tayo naman mga Pilipino nakita natin yung effort talaga ni Onyok noon kasi talagang lumalaban siya eh. Elite niya eh. Elite si Onyok
vertically
eh.
vertically challenged kasi si Mr.
Vertically
Velasquez.
challenge siya eh. Pero kailangan pumapasok siya doon tapos agresibo
Ang cute
makita mo
niya nga
talaga.
lumaban.
Yeah. He was you can really see he was really giving it his all.
Yes.
Na, 'di ba? So, and it was unfortunate that he lost. But again, a silver is not
Isa
bad.
si
It was our
mm.
first silver for boxing, and for that it was a big achievement already back in the day. So, yes. So again, Onyok Velasco, one of the greatest Filipinos of all time,
Mm. I
who
agree to
brought
that.
the medal for the country. Yan. So yun. So that's Onyok. Meron ka bang any other points for Onyok or can I move on to my other
So far yun lang. Yun nga, yung sa controversy that surrounds the um him being
yung boxing
the
match niya?
silver medalist yan.
Pero nakakatuwa no, nakakatuwa yung dahilan niya kung ba't siya nag-boxing. It's because of the bullying.
Nabubuli
I
siya.
mean, yun lang yung dahilan mo nung una and then eventually you made it into your career, 'di ba? Parang
Pero at least, diba? Pero alam mo, nakaka-proud sila ha, kasi the brother, Ruel Velasco, the kuya, uh, got the bronze medal, and then Mr. Velasco, Mr. Onyok Velasco got the silver medal. That's, ano ha, and both from Olympics. Di ba? Parang ang galing, di ba? They
oo.
put their their family name in the history of Olympics. Di ba?
Oo. So they will always be remembered as the family who brought medals to the Philippines eh, no? Mm. So yan. So
Exactly.
ito yung next ko si Miss Lydia De Vega. So she's very famous for being the tawag sa kanya sprint queen.
Mm.
Sprint queen of Asia by the
Asia.
way. She's the
Yeah.
sprint queen, yeah, of Asia's sprint queen. Not just the Philippines sprint queen, she's Asia's sprint queen. So si Lydia De Vega pala and she's called by her nickname DI. So, nag-start yan nung 12 years old pa lang yan. Nag-start na siyang sumali sa mga competition. And she won her first medal in the SEA Games when she was only 16.
Wow.
So, 'di ba? So from 16 years old, you were still a minor, you were able to grab a medal in the Philippines for the 200 meter and 400 meter 200 categories. Oo. Tapos ito pala si ano, ang buhay pala niya ni Lydia De Vega, ano siya, so yung bahay niya, yung bahay niya malapit lang sa school. So yung life niya before actually doing races, ang buhay niya lang is going to school and then going back home. So yun na yung buhay niya. And then eventually, because magaling siya, ano, tapos ang kalaro niya lang daw nung bata siya, mga lalaki.
One of the
So
boys.
we were talking last week, 'di ba, yung mga palarong Pinoy. So I'm guessing they were playing tag or habulan. Tapos syempre, imagine mo si Lydia De Vega yung nahabol mo. Tapos lalaki pa, parang embarrassing. Tapos hindi daw siya mahabol. Hindi daw siya mahabol ng mga kaklase niya lalaki, kaklase niya lalaki. Nung bata siya. Then eventually, nakita yung talent niya as someone she's very fast, no? So the school invited her to join the racing team. And then sinabi niya, hindi niya sinabi to sa father niya because her father was conservative and very strict. So di niya sinabi. Eventually, nalaman din ng father niya. And then her father apparently was a frustrated ang athlete.
Athlete, yeah. Si Tatang
Oo,
De Vega.
so yung father niya na mismo yung nag-train sa kanya. And yung ayan, ay si ano pala si Mr. Carnaval. Gold dapat si Onyx Olympics kung hindi lang siya nadaya.
Oo nga. Ang dami nagsabi talaga. Even the Hollywood
Oo.
actors that time.
Oo. Ayoko na lang maki-join na ano pero okay na 'yon, sir, basta may silver. Next time na lang. Kasi yun nga we have to prove. So that is what on a separate topic, 'di ba si Pacquiao, the way he proved na kailangan manalo siya is kailangan ma-knockout niya yung kalaban niya. So as a new entrant, so ganun tayo no. We really need to prove. And then when you're in such a stature like Pacquiao now, he doesn't need to do that anymore. Diba? Pero yun yung palaging mantra before ni Pacquiao na kailangan ma-knockout mo yung kalaban, otherwise talo ka. Talo ka sa score, 'di ba? So ganun talaga eh. But anyway. So, ayan, just going back. So Lydia De Vega was like that. And then yung training niya sa father niya is very, very strict yung training.
Mm-mm.
Lagi niya sinasabi na pagod na siya pero hindi siya pwedeng tumigil. Sobrang stringent nung training regimen niya. And then also as ano din siya product din siya nung yung Gintong Alay program ni former President Ferdinand
Ferdinand
Marcos. So
Marcos.
she and si Elma Muros. Si Elma Muros will also be part of our discussion, no? Both of them are products of that program. And because of that, she actually won. She won the gold medals in the SEA Games. And she held a record for the 100 meter category. So she held the record for Philippines. In the Philippines, in Asia rin yata eh.
Yep.
11.23 seconds.
Yeah.
So she's a record holder. And that was broken only recently by, wait. Let me just look at my notes. So 11.28 seconds yung record niya, which was broken by Christina Knott recently lang, 30 August 2020. By a whisker. So
Uh,
she broke the record. She got it by 11.27. So can you imagine? She took that record back in the 1980s and only until the 2020s na-break yung record niya. So 'di ba?
ganun
Can you
katagal.
imagine? Ganun katagal before na-break yung record niya. So ganun siya kabilis. I mean and she was very famous at that time. And to be fair kasi nga si Lydia De Vega yung itsura rin kasi si Lydia De Vega eh.
Mm-mm.
So I actually watched one of her races. So where she won. So it's that the talent, the achievements, the face to match, no. That brought some interest to the track and field or to the racing what do you call this sport sa Philippines. So siya yung nagdala nung ganong klaseng recognition for that specific sport in the Philippines, and yung interest. And also because of that, she's so well renowned na she has rivals across Asia. So she was pitted against one of the famous athletes also in India, si PT someone, I forgot her name. So kumbaga nakabuo ng rivalry eh. So ganun siya ka-famous,
Gano'n siya
nakabuo ng
kagaling.
rivalry with another oo, with another athlete in another country. So ganun because of that naging famous yung racing or ano ba, hindi racing ano ba tawag doon, running
Track
ba?
and field.
Track,
Yeah,
track and
sprint.
field
Yeah, track and
or
field.
sprint, na uso yung sprint na sport sa Asia, 'di ba? So and she got so many medals. So she got a total of 55 medals. I mean across the board, so from SEA Games, Asian Games, and other athletics competition that she joined in. So she bagged a lot of gold, and unfortunately she was also an Olympian, two-time Olympian, no? So as we mentioned earlier, before you can actually qualify for the Olympics, you need to go to different matches or different ano to dito, matches. So hindi basta-basta na hindi siya gaya ng Miss Universe na every year papadala ka ng contender mo. No. You
Mm.
have to first win in certain competitions, qualifiers, only then will you be brought into the Olympics. And unfortunately, she is an Olympian but unfortunately she could not place in any of the in any of the races. Tapos tinignan ko rin yung record yung record holder. The record held by a female track ano ba, sprinter in the Olympics was set in 1988. It was the record is 10 seconds and 10 sorry 10.49 seconds. Yun yung record. So, yung
Wow.
record ni
Ni Miss Lydia De Vega.
ni Lydia De Vega is 11.28 seconds. Yung record sa Olympics is 10.49.
Tapos,
So,
medyo malayo pa rin yun, I
medyo
mean,
malayo eh. Parang, mo
oo.
yun, yung every millisecond counts for that specific sport.
Parang The
So,
Flash.
oo. Pero for Asia, 11.28 seconds is good enough. Pero for at a global level, it's not.
Oh,
Ang
yeah.
laki
Because
ang laking
we all know
discrepancy pa
naman that
nun.
other athletes from other countries are much way,
Taller.
taller. And yung, ano talaga nila, yung body build nila is different from us. And nakakatawa kasi, sa larangan ng track and field ng 90s, Lydia De Vega, just like what you mentioned, babae pa, di ba? Sa track and field. Di
Mm.
ba dapat normally, pag mga ganong sports, lalaki ang nag-excel, di ba? So, it was really a first time for us here in our country na sa larangan ng track and field, it was a female who dominated during the 90s.
Rampage. Her and Elma Muros,
Elma
both of
Muros,
them
yun.
dominated the sprint sport in the 90s. And then, not just in the 90s actually. So just to clarify, no. So Lydia De Vega and Elma Muros had been athletes or had been competing since the 1980s. Na famous
Mm.
na sila by the time the 90s came in, they were already very famous in their specific
Yeah.
fields. So we do not hindi naman sinasabi na na produkto namin yan sina Yed De Vega and si Elma Muros. They were already famous back then. They were just more famous by the time that na nagkamang na kami in the 90s. Nakilala na lang namin itong mga to at sikat na
Mm.
sila at that time.
Oo, nasa
And
commercial
hindi
na
ko
sila ng
alam si
Milo.
pala. Oo. Kadalasan sila yung mukha ng mga Milo commercials back in the
Oo.
90s.
Kaya
Correct. Totoo
idol ng
yan.
mga kabataang 90s kasi sila na yung
Oo. Dahil diyan napapabili tayo ng Milo kasi nga Milo everyday eh.
pag
Malay
guminom ka ng
mo.
Milo, magiging track and field champion ka din, diba? Or swimmer champion ka.
Oo. Malay mo makabag ka rin ng gold, di ba? Just by drinking Milo. Di ba? So,
Growing
yan.
up
So,
with
and
Milo.
Milo every day. Ayan. Tapos
Yung
si
isa
ano
doon,
pala, si
gusto ko
ano?
na, just to segue lang, si Bea Lucero, di ba yung sa gymnast? Yung may batang
Oh.
sa Milo commercial, nag-gymnast, di ba? Gymnastic siya. Sabi ko, gusto ko maging ganyan. Bila ako Milo. Hindi
Yeah.
nangyari.
When we were seeing these athletes, no, dun on those commercials, yun din yung nakikita natin eh, parang wow, gold medal. Kasi lagi naman pag sinasabi sa atin ng mga
Right.
parents natin, uy, dapat gold. Pag gold, di ba, parang, uy, gold medal yan. Ibig sabihin, galing mo talaga.
Oo.
So, di ba? And to be able to get gold in the international arena, oh, isang malaking ano yun, isang malaking karangalan yun. Not for you and also for the Philippines. So, and by the way, ito palang si, meron ding movie to, si DJ De Vega, back in the 1980s. When 1982, meron siyang sariling movie.
Oo.
Oh, Medalyang Ginto. Yun yung title. Tapos siya mismo yung nag-star. She starred in her own movie, which sinabi dun yung story niya eh. Sinabi niya yung story ni Lydia De Vega. So, ito kasi si Lydia De Vega, yung sinabi ko nga, di ba, may face value siya, tapos
Mm-mm.
yun nga, at winner. She's a winner in her in her specific track and field categories. Tapos medyo controversial din kasi yung buhay niya. Yun nga may, 'di ba, yun yung secretive and then strict parent, ganyan ganyan. So it added to her celebrity status eh back in the day. Ito naman yung sunod ko si Elma Muros. So unlike si Lida De Vega, ito si Elma Muros mas straightforward to. Wala siya nung mga ganong klase ng drama na, stick yung parents ko na I had to hide my joining the track and field team to my parents because they're very strict, ganyan, ganyan. Wala siyang ganyan. So si Elma Muros, yung mother niya actually was an athlete as well. A 400-meter dash ba? 400-meter dash athlete. Oo. So, syempre, she followed in her footsteps. And then she started joining the competition doon sa school nila. Then eventually palagi siya nanalo. So she won locally, regionally, nationally, and then eventually she went in international arena. She was also part of the the Gintong Alay program ni former President Marcos. And she's also won a lot, no? So
Mm-mm.
she won she won 15 gold in the SEA Games. 15 golds. 15 gold
Imagine that.
medals. Oh. And at ang tawag sa kanya, ang moniker niya is Long Jump Queen of the
Long jump
Philippines.
queen.
Yes. And the Iron Woman of Asia. So, gano'n siya
Wow.
kakilala. So, ang dami niya napanulo na medals. And then, she's also a two-time medalist sa Asian Games. And she also holds the Filipino record of 57.57 seconds for 400 meter hurdles. Tapos yung pero ito mga Filipino, mga Filipino records ito. Unlike si Lydia De Vega, which is an Asian record, ito naman si Elba Muros is naman siya, mga local records naman siya.
Local records. Yeah.
Local lang. So, but again, no one has beaten those records yet. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you cannot beat those records, then you cannot expect to bring someone sa SEA Games again and sa Olympics again. Kung yung mga records na yun is hindi naman nabibit, di ba? We have to break those records first before we can actually compete kasi by now, iba na yung standard ngayon. Kasi di ba every time na magkakaroon ng competition, the aim is always to break the record eh. So I'm sure whatever records was set back in the 1980s, by now wala na yan. Diba? Mas mataas na. And yung sinabi ko kanina, yung sinet nung female 100-meter dash is 10 seconds, diba? Si Usain Bolt, ang record niya is 9.63. So,
The fastest man alive.
he's the fastest man alive, 9.60 seconds. So for you to actually win an Olympic medal, you have to beat 9.60 seconds or at least be close to 9.60 seconds. So yun yung challenges na kailangan i-overcome ng mga Filipino athletes na up to now, well, if it took us 30 years to beat Lydia De Vega's record, which is, by the way, not an Olympic record, right? So, mahirap talaga tayo makapasok
Mahirap.
again sa international arena. And we were fortunate na at during those times, we had these two ladies who were able to represent us and were able to bag the gold for the Philippines.
So,
Mm.
hindi totoo yung sinasabi ng Milo na ano, great thing starts from small beginning, growing up with Olympic energy.
Hindi ka mananalo ng Olympic medal just by drinking Milo. So lahat 'to, sinabi natin kanina 'di ba yung mga training regimen ng mga 'to, ito like si Lydia De Vega. Lydia De Vega was anong tawag dito, was training parang sinasabi niya sa tatay niya ayaw niya na pero sinasabi, "Hindi, tuloy pa, go."
Tsaka
'Di ba? Yung ganong klaseng
naalala ko, tinitrain siya sa ano, ano yun, sa tabing dagat, doon siya tumatakbo. Eh, di ba ang hirap
mm,
tumakbo sa buhangin? So, for you to
oo,
be able to run fast, that means you're really, ano, yung stamina mo, tsaka yung, ano talaga ng
strength.
mga strength mo talaga sa buhangin, di ba? So, mahirap yun.
Hmm,
So, yun.
discipline. Si Lea Salonga was also practicing on a daily basis. Every
Mm-mm.
day they practice their roles for the plays. So ganong klaseng dedication at ganong klaseng sport yung kailangan mong gawin to be able to achieve this. So ibang klase. And I think hindi na kasi to be honest naman, 'di ba? Hindi lang naman sa training 'yan eh. You also have to be talented eh in the
Mm-mm.
first place. So practice and training will improve you. Pero if you are born as an athlete or born at talented with these types of talents, well, more training and more dedication will eventually lead you to winning those competition, 'di ba? Winning those
Yeah,
challenges. So I think these talents or these athletes, these talents, artists were also fortunate that they were born with these types of traits na so when they were born, and they were also lucky, and on top of that their dedication and their training regimen helped them eventually reach their goals. So
exactly.
yon. So yeah. And yan. So those are my stuff. And one more, my final one, of course, we cannot forget. Ito yung sinabi ni ano kanina ni Generoso Kupal, si Efren Bata Reyes.
Yan.
So siya yung aking final na idol in the 90s. So Efren Bata Reyes, actually maganda yung documentary. I just watched his documentary today. So I did the research, but then when I watched the documentary, it made more sense. So I would suggest people to watch this. The Story of the Filipino, Efren Reyes. If you haven't watched that, it's on YouTube. Doon nyo malalaman yung ano niya, yung humble years or yung humble beginnings ni Efren. Efren Reyes, I just learned was, so he came from a very poor family, no? And then he went to Manila together with his dad. So they went to, merong sa tito niya o sa uncle niya, his uncle owns a pool, ano tawag dito?
Billiard shop, parang
Billiard shop, no? So when he was a
bilyaran.
kid, bilyaran, sige,
May
he, his
bilyaran.
his uncle owns a bilyaran. So when he was a kid, what he normally at 5 years old, what he did was he was the one cleaning the billiard tables after the ano tawag dito, after they play, after the patrons play on the tables. Tapos ano tawag dito, nag-start siya mag-learn ng pool nung nag-start na siya na mag-school. Tapos ang ginagawa daw niya, nakakatawa eh, yung ginagawa daw niya, kasi yung school niya start at 7 o'clock in the morning. He he's already awake by 5 o'clock and he already starts playing. Nagpe-play siya ng pool until 7 o'clock in the morning. Tapos papasok na siya ng eskwelahan. And then, after niya pumasok, he starts playing pool again. And then, pag nag-close na yung shop, that's when everyone is asleep, di ba? So, wala na gumagamit ng table. He plays pool. So, ganun siya. And by the time that he reached 12 years old, sobrang galing niya na. May term siyang sinabi eh. By the time he reached 12 years old, nangaharang na sila. I think when he meant nangaharang was, he began hustling already.
Mm.
When you say hustling, yun yung yung kumare maglalaro ka, tapos kumare hindi ka marunong, at tanga-tanga ka, tapos
Pupustahan mo.
sabihin mo doon sa ano mo, sa kalaban mo, makikipagpustahan ka kasi parang hindi ka magaling eh. Tapos yung pala, yung pala kalaro mo si Efren Bata Reyes. Magpustahan ka, di ba? So para so ganun yung ginagawa niya.
Surprise!
Doon niya ginamit yung talents niya, hinarang eh, yung term eh. So he started hustling when he was a kid. Tapos may mga ano din eh, may mga shady rin na mga kakilala siya. Kasi nakita yung talent niya eh. So ang ginawa, ang ginawa sa kanya, inikot siya. So, after school, iniikot siya sa mga iba't ibang bilyaran para ganun yung gawin, para mag-hustle. So, sumalabi siya sa mga competition, tapos nanalo siya. Tapos, ang sad part about it is, up until such time that he was seen by a promoter, an American promoter, and he was brought into the Americas to play pool competitions. Wala siyang nakukuha. Yung balato niya, sinabi niya, kwento niya, balato niya when he was a kid was 90 pesos.
Imagine
He
that,
play,
no?
oo, sabi doon after school, immediately after school, may mga maghihintay na sa kanya sa labas. Yung mga, mga players ba yun? Baka parang mga managers. Hintay niya siya sa labas, pick upin na siya, and then they will go around until the morning. Ang kinabukasan ng umaga, naghahanap sila, yung ganun yung ginagawa nila, nangakasal sila, pupunta sila ng mga pool competitions. Tapos, ang earnings niya lang, 90 pesos.
Wow.
And then, nung dinala siya sa Amerika, nung isang promoter. So he started playing in international in America. Mga official yata yun, official na mga competitions doon. Nananalo siya, pero wala siya nakukuha. Tapos ang laging dinuga siya ng promoter niya. So, ang sinasabi sa kanya ng promoter niya, wala pa silang kita. Nananalo siya ng mga competitions, pero wala silang kita. Kasi, syempre, di ba sinasabi yung air tickets, tapos yung mga
Mm.
hotels,
Yung
yung
ginastos,
accommodation, yung
pag ganun.
pagkain, ganyan, yung mga gastos, hindi pa raw nababawi. Pero, alam naman natin na when you join to those types of competition, yung mga winnings niya, siguro mga $5,000, $10,000, just more than enough to cover yung expenses niya. Ang problema kasi, hindi kasi siya nagseryoso sa pag-aaral. So, yun nga busy siya sa billiards. Sabi pa nga niya natutulog siya
Sa
after nilang
ibabaw nung ano.
mag-billiards. Pag-uwi niya, hindi pag-uwi, diretso sa school eh. Pagdating niya sa school, doon siya natutulog. So, imbis na nag-aaral siya, natutulog siya. Kasi he devoted his life into just playing or enjoying the billiards. So, ang problema, hindi siya ganun kagaling sa English. So, hindi rin siya marunong magbasa ng mga kontrata. So, yun, dahil doon, so
Kumbaga,
hindi siya
he was
ganun
taken
kagaling.
advantage.
He was taken advantage of by the promoter.
Mm.
So, kaya nga tinatanong siya nasaan yung mga winnings mo as early as 1980s when you start flying to the US to join into those competitions? Sabi niya, wala siyang napanalunan. Kasi walang binibigay sa kanya. So, nandun lang siya just for the sake of playing. 'Di ba? Siguro naisip niya na parang, oy, America. It's America. 1980s, 'di ba? It was a great opportunity for you to be able to fly to America. Eat fast food there, siguro. Stay in their hotels, 'di ba? And play the game that you love the most. So, for him siguro naisip niya it was already an opportunity. He was already blessed to be able to play in America, no? So he didn't ask much. Not knowing na probably by that time, siguro kung marunong siya magbasa, marunong siya mag-draw up ng contract, by that time siguro milyonaryo na siya. Hindi niya lang alam.
Oo.
Di ba? And then eventually, lumipat yata siya ng promoter, may something na nangyari. And then that's the time that he started winning big. So, nanalo siya ng mga $500,000 spot money, 'di ba? Tas mga international competitions. And the good thing about FN Reyes is he's very good at billiards. He's actually an entertainer. So, 'di ba? So, he's playing billiards. When he plays, he's trying to entertain you as well. 'Di ba? So, I think that's what siguro
Yung charm
natutunan
niya
na
as
yan.
a player.
No, as a hustler. As a hustler. Kasi when you're hustling, 'di ba? When you're hustling, ang gusto mong ma-feel nung kalaban mo na natatalo ka na. 'Di ba? So you always have to put yourself in a situation na, shit, natatalo ako. Para mas lumakas yung loob nung kalaban mo na mag-bet pa ng mataas. Siguro, na-realize ko na siguro, kaya ganun siya. Na pag nakita mo yung laro niya, na parang sumisirko palagi yung bola, yung may mga tumatalon yung bola, ganyan-ganyan. It's because na-train siya nung bata siya or nung earlier years na when he's hustling, he always puts himself into that situation and he needs to be able to get out of the situation. Kailangan niyang ma-resolve, ma-solve yung problem niya. Kailangan niya mapasok yung bola no matter what. So, ilalagay niya muna yung sarili niya into a detrimental situation, tapos kailangan niya makalabas doon. And yan yung makita mo ngayon, yung sa mga plays niya, di ba? Yung famous zigzag play, yung
Oo.
ball, yung kalaban niya sa Earl Strickland. So, and everyone was so amazed kasi nung time na yon hindi pa siguro ganun ka-revolutionary yung billiards,
Yung billiards.
'di ba? Na hindi nila naisip na trick shot yon. People think of it as trick shots. And up to now, we see them as trick shots eh. Pero for Efren Bata Reyes, I believe sa kanya, ano yun eh, it's just a regular occurrence for him. Parang yun yung regular shot niya eh. Yun lang yun yung ano eh, for him, that's how he plays. Period. It's not a trick shot for him. That's how he plays. So, ayan. And yan. So, and I think one of the sad things about this is, yun nga eh, I mean, siya yung ano natin, di ba? Contender natin sa SEA Games, si Efren Bata.
Yeah.
Parang wala pa tayo nakuha ng mga wala pa tayo nakuha ng mga contenders na kasing galing niya.
Oo.
So,
Kaya nga, di ba sabi niya, gusto niya na mag-retire. Pero wala kasing kapalit. So, hi J. Kenneth. Hi brother. Yun. So, wala pang nakukuhang kapalit dun sa na kasing galing niya na pwede niyang ipanlaban sa SEA Games. So, he came out of his retirement and compete again.
He came out of his retirement. Can you imagine? Natatanda na ni Efren Bata, he had to represent the Philippines in the SEA Games.
Pero saludo talaga ako sa kanya. Alam mo yun, nakita ko siya kasi pinanood ko yung opening ng SEA Games. I was like, kasi di ba siya yung isa sa nagdala, Mr. Paeng ni Pamuseno, si Efren Bata yung nagdala ng national flag natin. Talagang nakakaiyak, na nakaka-goosebumps na he came out of retirement just to play and represent the Philippines. Parang, grabe yung dedication niya sa larong yun. Nakakabilib.
At saka, isa pa nakakatuwa kay Efren, and I think, nakakatuwa kay Efren Reyes, sobrang humble ng tao na to. As in, sobrang humble niya.
Ngingitian ka lang niya.
He's so humble.
Yung ngiti niya, di ba, wala siyang ipin. Ngitian ka lang niya.
Wala siyang ipin.
Kakamot ulo lang siya. Pag naglalaro siya, kakamot ulo lang siya.
Nakakatuwa siya. Actually, nung pinapanood ko yung documentary na yun, natuwa ako sa kanya eh. Kasi wala siyang wala siyang, kumbaga he's true to himself. Di ba, totoo siya eh. Totoong tao. Tapos, nakita mo, whenever he plays, nakita mo yung damit niya parang podo lang. Pag nakita mo siya parang yung makita mo lang sa tabi-tabi dyan.
Parang typical tatay na lang dyan sa bilyaran,
tatay
diba?
lang.
Hindi mo
tatay lang, pero makita mo.
Nagko-compete.
Pero makita mo yung seriousness niya when he starts playing. Yung focus, di ba? Pero hindi mo makikita kasi sa labas eh. I think he's the best representation of the saying na do not judge the book by its cover.
Yes. Akala mo,
kasi,
ano ba to? Magaling ba to o hindi?
Tapos tagal-tagal niya na sa US, pero hindi siya nakakuha ng American slang.
Tatawa yan. Pag pinapanood yung mga laban niya, di ba? Yung pag, kakamutan ka lang niya ng ulos sa tawa, ngingiti lang siya na yung cute smile ni Mr. Efren Reyes na talagang yung charming, yung appeal.
Oo, may appeal siya na approachable person, very humble. Pero tingin ko talaga ang laking contribution nung hustling niya. Kasi yung sinasabi ko pag hustling ka, 'di ba? Pag nag-hustle ka, you need to show na matatalo ka. Kailangan mo ipakita na hindi ka magaling doon sa kalaban mo. Otherwise, yung kalaban mo hindi ka lalabanan, 'di ba? So, ganun yung ginagawa niya. So, ganun yung persona niya. So, pag nakita mo nga talaga siya, imagine ko, siguro back in the 90s, no, when he started hustling, or 80s when he started hustling, pag nakita mo siya na parang hindi naman magaling to eh. Tapos, pagka tumitira, yung bola, yung palaging hindi nakatapat dun sa bola or hindi pinoposition yung bola niya. So, malamang matatalo ko to. I think, isa ako sa mga suckers na na mahuhuli niya na ma-hustle niya back in the 80s. Type the word humble sa Google, picture ni Efren ang lala.
Oo. Siya yung siya yung aside from yung pagiging simpleng atleta. Doon makikita siya yung lumalarawan sa isang simpleng atleta. Yung gusto lang niya maglaro.
Yeah. Ayun nga sobrang humble. I think it's a general theme no sa lahat ng mga athletes and artists na kinover natin for today. Yun yung general theme. Lahat sila walang walang hangin Lahat sila they're very humble.
The
And
lifestyle.
oo, yung lifestyle nila, they're very humble and ano sila, anong tawag dito? Talaga makikita mo yung love nila for the sport.
Mm.
So, yun yung I think na isa sa mga commendable, not just because of the achievements that they brought in for the Philippines, but by the way that they live their lives, no? So, isa talaga silang magandang example
Exactly.
for people or for even for the younger generations nowadays to emulate. So, yan. I think. And ano tawag dito? Ayun. So any final words na Tita Kay, since I think we're going
Ah,
over and above.
mm. Ayun, so aside dun sa mga nabanggit natin, Mr. George, hindi lang naman sa larangan na yun. Ang dami ng 90s, 80s, 90s na talaga nag-excel din. Like, sa singing competition na lang, ang dami nating mga singers na nag-compete outside the country that became champions. Like, for example, 1989, Eugene Velasquez, Asia Pacific Singing Contest. 1990, Arnel Pineda, Yamaha Band Explosion. Sa Japan, he won the best vocalist. Um, andyan yung Smoky Mountain, di ba? They became, they won the best interpreter in Romania for the Golden Stag International Song Festival. So, pagdating sa uh, iba't ibang larangan, hindi talaga magpapahuli ang Pilipino. 'Di ba? Simula pa lang nung 80, 70s, 60s, 50s, 70s, 80s, 90s and up to now. And ang masasabi ko lang siguro, uh, yung dedication na nasimula nung 90s, sana tuloy-tuloy lang para sa mga kabataang atleta, mga kabataang singers, mga kabataang achievers or young achievers um, ng bagong millennium. Tuloy-tuloy lang. Gawin yung inspirasyon, yung mga nabanggit namin. Kung wala man dyan yung mga nabanggit na, yung mga inspirasyon nyo, kung wala man sa mga nabanggit namin yung inspirasyon nyo, malamang, I mean, nakapagsilbi rin sila at nakapagbigay rin sila ng karangalan sa Pilipinas. So, yun. Just like what we mentioned earlier, over and over, humility, yung pagiging humble, yung dedication, disiplina, hindi dapat mawala. Ayan. Kahit sa anong larangan pa yan, disiplina is the number one rule if you want to succeed. 'Di ba? Yun, sabi nga ni Sir Carlo, laban Pilipinas. So, yun, hindi natin nakuha yung kalayaan kung bilang Pilipino kung wala tayong dedikasyon, 'di ba? Yun. So, ikaw, Mr.
Mm.
George, ano yung final say dito sa
Final
ating
thoughts ko
episode?
lang, ako wala tayong wala pa yun nga lahat ng mga records na dinala nitong mga 'to, ng mga athletes, wala pa rin nakakatalo. I mean,
Iba na
hanggang
kasi yung
ngayon
focus ng kabataan ngayon eh.
oo,
Siguro the best in Mobile Legend Championship tsaka Dota.
mobile e-games na lang, 'no, yung
E-games,
mga
oo.
e-sports, oo.
Nakakalimutan na yung mga ano,
Yung mga traditional na sports competitions, athletics.
parang
Pero
wala.
yun nga,
Bihira na yung makikita mo maglalaro ng billiards, di ba? Nakabataan
oh,
ngayon. Online
dati
sabong na lang, tsaka online
nung sikat nung sikat si Efren Reyes tsaka si Bustamante, naglipa na yung mga bilyaran diyan
billiard
sa
shop.
tabi-tabi. Parang may susulputan lang yung mga
Siguro,
bilyaran
segue ko lang, it has something to do with also how we take care of our athletes. For example,
Hmm.
Wesley So, he's now representing America.
Hmm.
Kasi he's not been given enough training here eh. So, para sa pansariling edi punta akong Amerika, doon ako mabibigyan ng training. I'll represent the country that trains me, 'di ba? So, sayang, 'di ba? Imbis na um magkakaroon na naman ng panibagong achievement ng Pilipinas, sa iba napunta, 'di ba? So, hindi kasi
Hmm.
naalagaan yung mga atleta natin. 'Yun.
Oo. Ayun nga parang yung priority kasi. So, naintindihan ko naman that sports is not a priority for our country kasi we have bigger problems to deal with
Mm.
Pero ang ano ko lang, ang naisip ko lang, if may dumating once in the blue moon, like these athletes and these artists, may dumating, and we give them their full support.
Yep.
So, 'di ba? So I'm sure maraming problema sa ito rin pa nag-research ako, ito lagi binibring up nila pagdating sa ang lagi binibring up ng mga athletes na to, sina Lydia De Vega, sina Onyok Velasco and the like. Lagi yung sinasabi is yung grassroots program. Gusto nilang makahanap ng mga tao na yung from the very beginning iti-train mo up until they become pro. Yun nga sama si Sir Carlo, no, corrupt kasi yung mga sports officials sa totoo lang. So, yun nga, so politicking tsaka yung palakasan system. Nag-usapan natin kanina si Pacquiao, 'di ba? Pacquiao was in the PBA when he's not supposed to be in that sport. So kumbaga ganun, hanggang may ganung klase ng mga problema, we will never be able to solve the problem. We will never be able to beat the records that we have set
Yeah.
in the previous years. And if you want to join the international arena, if you want to make a mark, no, we need to change our ways. We need to change the system, which I don't think that will happen in our lifetime. Pero just in case nga, once in a blue moon, if someone comes up who nakasing galing or much better than the people that we mentioned in this podcast, I just hope that the government
We'll
and
take good care.
every one of us gives them our full support.
Yes.
Kasi yun na nga, I mean, we attach ourselves. You always say Pinoy pride, no? But we don't actually
Pag
help them.
nag-champion na. Pero nung naghihirap pa
Yun nga
sila,
Yun
we
yung
don't
masakit
care.
no? Yun yung masakit no? Before winning anything, walang tulong, wala. And then pag nanalo na, parang, oy, pucha, Pinoy yan. So, Pinoy din ako. Then, siguro, magaling din ako. Di ba? Parang, which is not right. It's not right. If you want to shout Pinoy pride, then you need to deserve to shout Pinoy pride. Kailangan mong tulungan tong mga to. And if they won notwithstanding the Filipino culture and Filipino assistance, then we cannot actually shout Pinoy pride, no? At the top of our lungs. So yun.
Imagine mo, bandila natin yung inaangat nila, diba? And
Okay.
sila ang ating modern heroes, kumbaga.
Lagi na lang private sector gumawa pagdating sa sports. True, kasi government doesn't want, it's not their priority. Kung yung national team nga natin sa basketball, hirap na hirap sa mga FIBA sanction competitions.
Exactly.
Ayun nga So, di ba? So, syempre, yun yung pinag-uusapan lang namin kanina, yung mga records like Usain Bolt. Ano yung record mo? 9.63 seconds. So, you need to start developing systems, training regimens, developing people that will beat that record. Starting from now. And you also have to be forward-looking. Hindi ngayon na hindi yung mag-train ka ng tao ngayon to beat a 9.63 second record. Because by the time that those people are able to compete, a new record would have been set already.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
'Di ba? So every time na mag-train ka, you always have to be forward-looking.
Mm-mm.
So, and it's a big challenge.
Tsaka wag nating hayaan natin mag-retire yung mga athletes natin na namayagpag nung dekada 80, 90. Let them rest, let them enjoy life, 'di ba? Wag natin silang pabalikin dahil lang walang representative. 'Di ba?
Sa ML na lang tayo. Marami tayong rep sa ML.
Oo. Diba? Malamang esports magto-champion tayo. And we are. 'Di ba? Sa Dota pa lang We are.
Sa Dota.
We are winning.
Ayun. So, that's it for tonight. Thank you everyone who joined us.
Thank you sa mga nanood sa YouTube. Yan. Sir Carlo, Sir Kenneth. Yan.
Tsaka si Mr. Generoso Kupal, tsaka si Mr. Orange
Kev.
Thank you very much for dropping by. So, thank you and tune in next week as we discuss more exciting 90s topics. You can watch replays of the show when it comes up on Facebook and also listen to the podcast when it goes up on Anchor.fm and its linked affiliates like Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Also, please, if you like the content, don't forget to follow and like the PH Facebook page. We hope you enjoy the show, and we'll see you again next week. Take care, guys, and stay safe. Good
Bye!
night. Goodbye.